The interior of the bag features one small pocket, which I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make. If you want, you can put a second pocket in the bag. It'll be really easy. It's just up to you. You can also make the pocket bigger if you want to. Just cut a larger rectangle. It's just totally personal preference. I designed this pocket this size because it's just about the right size for a phone. You can see how the pocket sits in the bag right there. Okay, so to construct the pocket, you're going to go ahead and you're going to take your pocket piece. The pattern does not call for interfacing on the pocket piece. However, I'm using a really lightweight woven fabric, so I went ahead and put a little bit of Shape Flex interfacing on the back of it just to give it a little more stability. So to go ahead and construct the pocket, you're just going to take your pocket piece and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise. And then we're just going to put a few pins in it to hold it in place. And then we are going to sew around. We're going to start at this fold. We're going to go all the way around, stop here, and then we're going to start here and finish sewing. So we're going to leave an opening in the bottom of the pocket. We want to make sure that we lock our stitch as we start and stop. When you get to the corner, go ahead and put your needle down and raise your presser foot up and rotate, and then keep sewing. Put our needle down and our presser foot up and keep sewing. Sew for a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of a back stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead, skip a little bit, and then I'm going to finish sewing until I get to the other end. Okay, now we're going to take this and we're going to clip the corners off. And we are just going to very quickly turn this piece right side out through the hole we left in the seam. I'm just going to go ahead and use my Hera tool again just to get that a nice clean corners on this. And then we've got that so it looks nice. We're going to go ahead and bring it over to our iron. We're going to make sure that the fold is catching the opening that we left in the fabric. And just steam that in place. And then on the side of the pocket that does not have the opening, we're going to do a top stitch across the top. Now we're ready to attach the pocket to the lining of the bag. So what I have here is I have my two bag lining pieces. The bag lining has got Shape Flex interfacing on the wrong side, and then I have my canvas piece on the back. And on the canvas piece, I've gone through and I have trimmed 1 inch off of the top of the canvas, and this is just to kind of reduce some of the bulk in the seam allowance as we go ahead and attach the bag band to it. So we've just got this piece right here. We only need to do one at a time because we're just doing one pocket. And we're going to go ahead and just place that pocket on top of the bag. I'm going to get that right in the center, a couple inches down. On the pattern, you'll notice that if you want to know exactly where to put it, I've gone ahead and noted exactly how many inches to bring that down. But a lot of it's personal preference on how you like your bags. So I'll put that right there. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pin. And I'm pinning through all the layers, pinning through the bag lining and the canvas. Now I'm going to sew the pocket to the lining of the bag. And I'm going to, at the top and bottom, at the top of the pocket, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I backstitch 2 or 3 times because it's a weak point in the seam and you want to make sure that it does not pull as you're putting things in and out of the pocket. Okay. And then we're also going to come to the edge of the pocket here. We're going to put our needle down, lift the presser foot up, come back around the other corner. I'm sewing right up along the edge of the pocket. Right up to the edge, and then when we get to the top, we're going to back stitch a couple times again. Now we've got the pocket attached to the bag. So now to finish assembling the bag lining, all we're going to do is take our other bag lining piece and our canvas piece, and we're just going to put the pieces together. So right sides facing. So you've got like a sandwich, and you've got your canvas on the outside, and on the inside of the sandwich, you've got your lining pieces. And I'm just going to go ahead and pin. It's up to you. You can pin it. You can use binding clips, whatever you think is best. You're going to stitch it with a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And we're going to start right here at the top and go all the way around to the other top. We're also going to make sure that we backstitch at the top and bottom. Okay, so now we've got that like we want it, and then we're going to do the same thing we did with the outside of the bag, and we're going to go ahead and trim the seam allowance. When you're making bags, you always want to make sure that you're watching how much seam allowance, how much bulk you've got in that seam allowance, because if you get too much bulk in the seam allowance, then your bag gets kind of lumpy and you don't get a good finished product. So we're just going to come all the way around here. Again, just trimming as close as you can get to that seam as you can. Especially around these corners. Okay, then after you've got that seam allowance trimmed down the way you want it, we're going to go ahead and move on to actually assembling the bag.